Hey guys, um, I've been wanting to make a vlog about Reputation for probably over a year. I haven't really had the reason to until now. It's essentially just this is what I feel like could be my contribution to the League of Legends community in terms of truly good content. And what I really want to talk about is my personal experience with Reputation, me kind of sort of making it close to the top of almost making it to the pro scene, being at the very edge of that, and going through the amateur scene and whatnot. Kind of like the behind the scenes look at, well, this is a player that's come close to making it pro, but hasn't quite made it, and the reasons why. I want this video to be something that players who aspire to be pro gamers and current pro gamers can kind of take to heart and realize, what's at stake here with League of Legends. And I've got a little bit of notes on the side, so I'm going to be looking at that. And what I'm really talking about is, when you play the game, what do people think about you? In terms of, okay, you go into a random solo queue game. Well, how do you respond to stress? Do you you guys are losing in the solo queue game, and how do you respond? What do you say to your teammates? That is what carries on and becomes your persona, becomes your reputation, everything. First impression is everything in esports. The first thing that people could hear your name associated with could be negative, and that's the worst thing that you could possibly ever want. And that's something that sort of happened to me, and I'll go into that a little bit later, but League of Legends is a team-based game, and when you're dealing with team-based games, there's more to being a pro gamer than just your raw skill. How you get along with your teammates, how you handle stress, these are just sub-attributes of, being a skillful player, but they're as important as being good at the game. Because if you can't get along with your teammates, then it's going to be harder to win games. Because teams that have better synergy, they could beat teams that are more skilled just based on the fact that they're working together, and this game is entirely designed for that. Every pro has essentially come from solo queue, and that's something that may sound like common sense, but everyone has to kind of think about that for a second. Well, like, if everyone was discovered in solo queue because that's like the only hub of kind of determining skill, like, oh, this guy's mechanically amazing, let's try him out for a team, let's see how he does. Oh, he does well, let's pick him up. Like, that's pretty much the summation of how players have become pro. But what people haven't seen is what goes on underneath that level of thought. And what I mean is, well, how do they come to that solution of, oh, this is the player for our team? They have to go through a list of names and think about it, or rather not think about it, and eliminate choices based on what people think about that person. And this is something that I've done at a personal level. That's why I know others do this. I've talked to other teams. Currently, I was on Falafel. We were an LCS Challenger team. We didn't make it to the LAN event, but that's something in itself. But if you were to try and build a team, you would probably look for the most skilled players you can find in solo queue, but at the same time, there's a certain level of people understanding that just because a person's at a certain level in solo queue does not mean they're technically gonna be a good tournament player. There are more things going on in a tournament player than just solo queue mechanics and decision making from just a solo queue level. You have to be able to get along with your team, like I said. So people will eliminate choices just based on the fact that, oh, this guy, I've never had a good solo queue experience with this guy. He's a good player, but he raged and called his team noobs constantly. Like that, those are the type of eliminations that happen on a daily basis. Like it's impossible to know who everyone is. So you're like, okay, well, who is this guy? You know, VGS player or something like that. You ask your friends, you know, have you heard of this guy? You know, we're looking for an AD player. He's got good stats. You know, what do you think about him? And that opinion that you're about to get from your friend about that other player is going to carry more weight than almost anything else. And it could have been your friend had only played one game with that one player. But in that one game, the player got like really frustrated, just raged like crazy, fed. He was, you know, all of that, you know, stuff happened. It could be that player was really good and has talent, but he's going to be overlooked because that player really didn't think about his reputation, and you know, he let his anger get a hold of him, and because of that, he missed out on an opportunity to be on this team that someone was, you know, looking to create. And, you know, going from there, what people think of you supersedes what you actually are. Because players in League of Legends only see one side of you, and that's whatever you show them, and, you know, however much you've played with them. And, you know, all of that wrapped together becomes their opinion of you. And it could be, oh, you know, this player, I've never had a good experience with this player because he's just, you know, he's a mean person. He doesn't get along with other people in solo queue. He's a rager. I've never seen him have a positive score. Like, things like that are so easy to stick to a name. It's so easy just to write off that name and never consider them again for something because of something they did in solo queue or something stupid they've said, you know, something very important that has pretty much developed while League of Legends was going on with streaming. You know, you could have a bad game while you're in a streamer's game, and bam, you know, like 10,000 people have that opinion of you. The streamer could be like, oh, this person is, you know, bad, or, you know, they could be saying something that's so superficial and generic about someone, and it's just going to stick. And that's something that I've seen a lot of you know, it's happened to a lot of players on streams. You know, I'm watching a stream and I'm like, you know, I'm face palming because I'm like, man, this really sucks for this person. They're having a bad game, and you know, this streamer is, you know, talking bad about them, and all these people who are watching the stream might develop the same opinions just based off of this one solo queue game. This person could be written off entirely for other teams just based off of like one person's opinion of another person. And I want to get a little bit into my personal reputation and how it's developed, negative and positive, over the course of me playing the game since, what is it, closed beta? I've essentially played since the beta portion of League of Legends when it was only available on weekends. So it's about like 5 years. I don't know. I don't know. It's a long time. I have to think about it, and it'd be kind of depressing. But let me jump into my personal experience with reputation. My first memory of actually like hurting my reputation probably happened about 2 years ago, early summer. And it happened in a game where I was playing against Loco Doco top lane. And you guys probably know who Loco Doco is, so I won't go into that. But in this particular game, I was playing Caitlyn top lane. Loco Doco was playing Swain top. I'm pretty sure this is like just after Caitlyn was released, and then she was given some buffs. And I was trying out Caitlyn and in a role that wasn't really, you know, popular at the time. And it was essentially Caitlyn top lane. I'm pretty sure players were like attempting to play Caitlyn mid and Caitlyn bot, but I was playing Caitlyn top lane. And in this particular game, Loco Doco was playing Swain, and I'm pretty sure I had just played a game. Either he was on my team, I think he was just on my team. And the trash talk that happened from the previous game carried on to this game. And I don't remember exactly what was said, other than the fact that we were both trash talking each other. And it was it might have been playful at first, like, oh, you're a bad player, blah blah blah, but you know that sometimes happens in solo queue when you're playing against players that you know, or they know you, you know them, and whatnot. You know that goes on. But in this particular game, I remember it went too far. I remember I I said some things, he said some things, and it escalated. What happened was I ended up winning top lane. I first splitted him, and I was doing pretty well. And I'm pretty sure I made a comment about how he was getting owned, or something that I didn't mean to be taken a certain way, and he took it in a bad way. And from that game on, Locodoco hated me. He despised me. And it was essentially just like one day's worth of reputation building gone wrong. Me, you know, like socializing in League of Legends just comes down to like funny things that come down in game, you talking about it, all chat, you know, after the game you add them, you talk to them, you know, there's not a whole lot of socializing that goes on. So the little bit that happens is very important. And so this bad experience happened to me, and Locodoco, I would say. Locodoco hated me. Like that was a closed door in itself. You know, Locodoco hated me. Like if anyone asked Locodoco about me, he would probably give them a really bad view of me. And at the time, I would say, if I were to classify myself, I would say I was probably a toxic player. This is about 2 years ago during the summertime. During that time in my life, like, I knew you could make a living off of League of Legends, but, you know, I had so much other stuff going on in my life. I was finished, you know, I finished up my freshman year of college. That was a whole new experience in itself, you know, a lot of crazy things, stress, just, it was, you know, it changed my life. That 1 year, my first year of college, totally changed my view on everything. And when you just think of League of Legends just as a game, it's not a good thing. And I feel like a lot of players do that. They think of League of Legends as like, oh, it's just a game. It doesn't matter what I do in the game. Like, who cares what people think about me? Well, it really does matter. If you want to, you know, actually do something in League of Legends, if you want to make content, become a pro gamer, what people think about you really does matter. Like, yeah, you could have that negative persona and somehow make something out of it, but if you're aspiring to be a pro gamer, you cannot have that bad reputation. You cannot be that teamless player. It's hard enough to maintain a skill level at the highest skill level of League of Legends. I mean, League of Legends is a relatively easy game for esports, but there's you know, there are so many champions, there's so many ways you can play the game right now. I mean, personally, I believe that the way, you know, the NA scene, like the way everything is being played right now is not to its fullest potential. Like there are ways you can play the game that have yet to be realized. And part of being a pro gamer is like innovation, being able to figure that out, playing the game enough to figure that out. That should be something in itself. Like, I'm having to cut this vlog a little bit shorter than I wanted, but I'm going to jump right back into the main topic of this. Attitude speaks louder than winning or losing. And my main problem with my reputation was I thought that all it took was winning. Whether it was solo queue, tournament games, or whatever. I thought that's all it took to become a pro gamer. I didn't realize that everything that I carried with myself, everything that people thought of me, you know, that the negative, toxic things that had occurred throughout solo queue in my entire experience, just kind of, you know, snowballed itself and attached itself to me. And I missed out on a lot of opportunities that, you know, it hurt my pro career, it hurt my chances at it. You know, no one knows who you are and what you've overcome. They just see what you show them. And, you know, you have the best opinion of yourself, of, you know, probably anybody, and hopefully that's the case. You know, it'd be worse if you had a worse opinion of yourself than others, but you kind of have to realize that everything that you do has a repercussion. You can't just treat this, you know, experience that you have right now as just playing a game. It's more than that. It's a job. People look at your reputation as job experience. Like, oh, how was it? You know, they'll ask your previous team, like, you know, how good is this player? What did they do? How did they act? You know, that is, it's like a public resume. Your entire experience is like a public resume. And it comes down to this one example I have that best illustrates everything I've talked about. And it comes down to having two spoons. One spoon, this is a dirty spoon. This is a clean spoon. Which one would you want to take? Which one would you want to eat with? Which one would you want to share? You know, which one would you rather have? And it comes down to, you'd rather have the clean spoon. You don't want the dirty spoon. You don't know where that's been. And just like that, you know, the same thing goes for reputation. If you have a dirty spoon, or this is the dirty spoon, if your reputation is a dirty spoon, how do you get it clean? The answer is, I don't know what the answer is, to be honest. I've never seen anyone go from a dirty spoon to a clean spoon. Like, I've seen a lot of people claim that they've changed their ways. I mean, there's not really a good way to illustrate it. Other than that, you know, they could have changed their ways. Like, who knows? It's just really difficult. A lot of times they don't change their ways, and it kind of ruins it for everyone that wants to change their ways. So, to sum everything up, reputation is everything. It could mean you becoming a pro player. It could mean you not becoming a pro player. Everything that you do has a repercussion. And, you know, I can make... I have more content that I could make, but I wanted to cut this a little bit shorter than 20 minutes so that people would actually watch this. But for those of you that actually watched till the end, that was a special treat. Shoulder cat. Yeah. Shoulder cat.